The marketplace reeked of desperation and rotting fruit, but Lyra didn't need her eyes to know that death stood on the platform today. She could smell it, the coppery tang of blood mixing with something else, something wrong that made her skin prickle with warning. "Stay close, Nova," she murmured to the 10-year-old whose small hand gripped hers tightly. "Lyra, there's a man up there," Nova whispered, her voice trembling. He's hurt really bad. Everyone's just staring." Lyra's fingers tightened on her walking stick as she navigated through the pressing bodies. The crowd's energy was toxic, a living thing that fed on cruelty. "What'll you give me for him?" The voice belonged to Corvin, the territory's lead healer and senior council advisor, a man who'd turned medicine into politics and healing into power. His words dripped with false joviality. "Prime specimen, this one. Alpha blood runs strong, even if he is from the Shadowlands." The crowd erupted in jeers and hissing. Shadowlands, the forbidden territory beyond the Thornwood, where wolves were said to be more beast than man. 20 gold marks, Corvin announced. Fair price for an alpha, even a savage one. Silence. Not a single bid. Lyra tilted her head, focusing past the noise to the platform. There, beneath the jeering and Corvin's merchant pitch, she heard it. Breathing. Labored. Wet. Painful. And something else. A sound so low she almost missed it. A rumble that resonated in her chest like the purr of distant thunder. "What does he look like?" Lyra asked Nova quietly. "He's huge, Lyra. Taller than anyone I've ever seen. His shirt is torn and there's blood everywhere. His shoulder—" Nova's voice caught. "There's something black spreading from a wound on his shoulder. It looks like poison in his veins." Lyra's healer instincts flared. That description matched nothing she'd ever treated. 15 marks, Corvin called out, frustration creeping into his voice. A rock sailed through the air. Lyra heard it whistle past, and a dull thud followed by a sharp intake of breath. "Savage!" someone shouted. More projectiles followed. 10 marks, Corvin announced. "Come now, this is robbery." "Stop!" The word tore from Lyra's throat before she could think. The marketplace fell silent. She felt hundreds of eyes turn toward her. "Lyra, no," Nova breathed. But Lyra was already moving forward, her stick tapping against cobblestones as she made her way through the parting crowd. Well, Corvin's voice dripped with false warmth. "The blind healer graces us with her presence. Come to observe my wares, Lyra?" Scattered laughter rippled through the crowd. Lyra's cheeks burned, but she kept her face carefully neutral. "I'll take him," she said clearly, "for 10 marks." The silence that followed was deafening. "You?" Corvin's amusement was evident. "My dear girl, you can barely care for yourself and that foundling you keep. What would you do with a Shadowlands alpha?" "Heal him," Lyra said simply. "Isn't that what you want? You wouldn't be selling him if you could save him yourself." She heard Corvin's sharp intake of breath. "I don't have 10 marks," Lyra continued, reaching into her worn pouch. "But I have 5, and that's more than anyone else has offered." "5 marks? That's insulting." "It's what I have." Lyra held out her hand, letting the coins clink together. 5 marks, or he dies on that platform, and you get nothing but a corpse to bury." The silence stretched. "Please," she added quietly. "He's suffering." Something shifted in the air. The crowd's bloodlust wavered. "Fine," Corvin spat. 5 marks. But when he tears your throat out, don't come crying to me." Lyra climbed the platform steps carefully. When she reached the top, she extended her coins. He snatched them from her palm. "He's yours. May you find joy in your bargain." The chains rattled as Corvin roughly unlocked them. Lyra heard the heavy body sway, and she instinctively reached out. Her hand connected with a massive forearm, and the contact sent electricity shooting through her entire body. The alpha made a sound. Not quite a growl, not quite a whimper. "Easy," Lyra murmured. "I won't hurt you." She felt his muscles tense beneath her touch, felt the heat of his fever. And there, just beneath her fingertips, she felt his pulse. Strong despite everything, fighting to stay alive. "Lyra," Nova appeared at her side. Everyone's staring. "Let them," Lyra said. She turned to where she sensed the alpha's face would be. "Can you walk?" He didn't respond. "I'm taking you somewhere safe." She tried again. "Please, trust me." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, she felt him shift, leaning heavily on her small frame. His weight was enormous, but he was trying. Together, they descended the platform steps. The crowd parted silently before them. As they reached the edge of the marketplace, Lyra heard a voice behind them, cold and sharp. "Lyra." It was Talon, one of the territory's patrol leaders. "You realize what you've just done? That's not just any alpha. That's Kale, the Shadowlands war leader. He's killed dozens of our kind." Lyra's blood turned to ice. War leader, killer. The alpha, Kale, swayed dangerously, and she tightened her grip on him. "He's wounded and dying," she said steadily. "Right now, he's just a patient." "He's a killer," Talon hissed. "Then heal him or execute him properly," Lyra shot back. "Don't torture him in the marketplace like entertainment." She felt Talon's anger radiating like heat, but she didn't wait for his response. She guided Kale forward, Nova pressed close to her other side. Behind them, Talon's voice carried. "When he shows his true nature, don't expect help from anyone. You've chosen your side, and it's the wrong one." The walk to Lyra's cottage took nearly an hour. Kale's weight grew heavier with each step, his breathing more labored. Nova had run ahead to prepare the house. When they finally reached her cottage at the edge of Willowmere, Nova had the door open and blankets spread on the floor near the hearth. "Help me get him down," Lyra said. Together, they guided Kale to the blankets. He collapsed more than sat, his control finally giving out. "Water," Lyra instructed Nova, "and bring my healing kit, the large one." As Nova rushed to comply, Lyra knelt beside Kale, one hand still gripping her walking stick while the other reached toward him. Her hands moved over him carefully, mapping his injuries by touch. His face was unfamiliar to her fingers. Strong jaw, rough stubble, sharp cheekbones. But it was when her fingers found his shoulder wound that her breath caught. The flesh there was wrong, not just wounded, but corrupted. The skin was hot and cold at the same time, pulsing with something unnatural. "Nova," she said carefully, "describe the wound to me exactly." Nova leaned close. It's black, Lyra. Not like dirt or blood, black like ink or shadow. And it's spreading. There are veins of it going down his arm and across his chest. They're silver black, and they almost look like they're moving." Lyra's hands trembled. Shadowbane poison, ancient weapon used by wolf hunters, said to be extinct, forbidden, impossible to create. Yet here it was, killing a man beneath her hands. "I need willow bark, feverfew, and golden seal," Lyra said quickly. "Bring them with the mortar." As Nova scrambled to obey, Lyra pressed her hands more firmly against Kale's wound. The poison pulsed beneath her palms, draining his life force systematically. Normal healing wouldn't work. This required something more. "Please forgive me," she whispered. She closed her eyes and reached deep within herself to the place where her other gift lived. The one she'd hidden since childhood. The one that had gotten her mother killed. Warmth began in her chest, spreading down her arms and into her palms. It wasn't natural heat. This was different. Golden. Pure. Alive. The moment her healing power touched the Shadowbane poison, Kale's entire body convulsed. His back arched off the blankets, and a sound tore from his throat that was pure animal agony. "Lyra!" Nova gasped. "His eyes are glowing! Gold like fire!" Lyra felt Kale's hand shoot up and grip her wrist with crushing strength. She cried out, but didn't pull away. The healing had already begun, and breaking contact now would kill them both. The poison fought her. It was alive in its own terrible way, feeding on Kale's alpha power. But Lyra's gift was older than poisons, older than weapons. She poured more power into him, feeling it clash with the Shadowbane. Sweat beaded on her forehead. Her arms shook with effort. "Mama Lyra," Nova whispered, "you're glowing too. Your hands are gold." The poison began to retreat. Slowly, the black veins started to recede. But the effort was costing Lyra everything. Her breathing turned ragged. The room spun even in her darkness. "Just a little more," she told herself. Kale's grip on her wrist suddenly shifted. Instead of crushing, his fingers gentled, and she felt him pull her hand toward his face. His nose pressed against her inner wrist, and she heard him inhale deeply, desperately. Then his lips touched her pulse point, soft as a whisper, and his teeth sank in. Lyra's scream caught in her throat, emerging as little more than a strangled gasp. Pain lanced up her arm, sharp and immediate. But worse, or perhaps better, was what followed. Heat flooded through her veins, liquid fire that raced from the bite mark through her entire body. It felt like being consumed and reborn simultaneously. Her healing power surged in response, doubling, tripling in intensity. It poured into Kale through the connection of his bite, and she felt his life force surge in answer. "No," she gasped, trying to pull away. But his grip held firm, his teeth still embedded in her wrist. She felt his tongue against her skin, felt him drinking, and with each pull, something inside her rewired itself, changed, became fundamentally different. The Shadowbane poison shrieked. She could actually hear it, and shattered. The black veins vanished like smoke, the corruption burned away by their mingled power. Kale released her wrist and collapsed back onto the blankets, unconscious. Lyra swayed where she knelt, staring down at her arm. She couldn't see the bite mark, but she could feel it, twin points of sharp pain that throbbed in time with her racing heartbeat. The flesh around them was tender and inflamed, as if her body couldn't decide whether to accept or reject the mark. "Lyra," Nova's voice seemed to come from very far away. "Lyra, you're bleeding." The room tilted. Lyra felt her body tip sideways, felt Nova's small hands try to catch her. The last thing she was aware of before darkness took her was the sound of Kale's breathing. Steady now, no longer labored, and a warmth in her chest that hadn't been there before. A presence. A connection. A bond. Lyra woke to whispers. "Shouldn't be possible. No Omega has survived an Alpha's claiming bite." "But she's not just any Omega, Sarah. You can sense it. There's something else in her blood." Her mother was the same. That's why they killed her. Lyra's eyes opened to the same darkness that always greeted her, but something was different. She could sense presences in her cottage with unusual clarity. Two women, both radiating the unique energy signature of pack healers. And there, unconscious on her floor, the massive presence of Kale. But he was no longer dying. His life force burned steady and strong. "She's awake," the older woman said. "Give us a moment, Rena." Footsteps retreated. A door closed. "My name is Sarah," the older woman said gently. "I'm the elder healer from Shadowlands territory. Your little Nova ran all the way to our borders while you were unconscious, begging for help. Took her half the night, but she didn't stop once. Brave child." Lyra struggled to sit up. Where's Nova? Is she safe? Sleeping in your loft. Sarah moved closer, and Lyra heard the creak of her joints as she knelt. May I see your wrist? Lyra hesitated, then extended her arm. Sarah's fingers were gentle as they examined the bite mark. He claimed you, she said softly. Do you understand what that means? No, Lyra whispered. An alpha's claiming bite is sacred among our kind. It's how we mark our mates, creating a bond that transcends death itself. Mates? Lyra jerked her arm back. No, that's not. I don't even know him. He was dying, and I know. Sarah's voice was infinitely kind. You were trying to save his life. But intent doesn't matter when it comes to bonds. The bite was given, and somehow, impossibly, you survived it. Lyra's hand trembled as she touched the mark on her wrist. 2 crescent-shaped wounds that pulsed with warmth. What happens now? Sarah was quiet for a moment. The bite has created a bond, but it's incomplete. Usually, both parties bite to seal the mating fully. Without completion, you'll both suffer. The bond will pull at you, demanding it. A sound made Lyra's eyes snap toward Kale. His breathing changed, harsh, labored panting. He's waking, Sarah said. Lyra was already moving, her walking stick guiding her as she navigated toward him. But there was something else now. A pull she felt toward Kale, like following a cord tied directly to her heart. She knelt beside him, her hands hovering over his chest. She could feel him now, not just with her healer's senses, but with something deeper. Kyle, she said softly. His breathing changed. She felt him surface from unconsciousness. When he spoke, his voice was rough from disuse, heavily accented. Little Omega. Lyra's breath caught. You can speak. Enough, he interrupted. Learned. From prisoners. His hand found hers, his fingers dwarfing her slender ones. You saved me. Through the bond, Lyra realized she understood him better than his broken words should allow. The connection carried meaning beyond language, intent beyond grammar. I tried, Lyra said. I didn't mean to. The bite? I didn't know. I know. Fever. Not myself. He paused, and she felt his shame like a physical thing through their bond. Hurt you? I'm fine, Lyra said quickly. You're healed. That's what matters. No. His grip tightened. Marked you. Claimed you. Cannot. Unclaim. A sound outside made them both freeze. Footsteps. Many of them. Sarah moved swiftly to the window. Soldiers, she hissed. 20 at least. Led by Corvin and Talon. Lyra's blood turned to ice. They're coming for him. Coming for both of you, Sarah corrected grimly. Word has spread about what you did. Corvin's convinced the council you're a witch. Says you used dark magic to save a Shadowlands alpha. No, Kyle growled. The sound was pure alpha, full of threat and fury. He tried to push himself up, but his body betrayed him. You can't fight them, Lyra said urgently. You can barely stand. Won't let them take you. Pounding on the door made them all jump. Lyra! Open this door by order of the Silverpine Council. Sarah looked between them. There's a back way through the garden. They'll hunt us down, Lyra said. Lyra, please. Nova's voice came from the loft, thick with tears. Stay there, sweetheart, Lyra called back. Then to Sarah. Can you get her out? Get her somewhere safe? Of course, but then do it. Now. The pounding intensified. Wood began to splinter. Kale's hand found Lyra's face, cupping her cheek with surprising gentleness. Trust me. Before she could ask what he meant, his body began to change. She felt it through their bond. Bones shifting, muscles reforming, the human form giving way to something else entirely. The door burst open. A massive silver-gray wolf stood where Kyle had been, positioned protectively between Lyra and the intruders. His growl filled the small cottage, primal and terrifying. But Lyra felt the bond stretching, straining. He was still too weak for this. "Look at what you've brought into your home." Corvin's voice was triumphant. "A monster." Talon stepped forward, and Lyra heard the distinctive sound of a blade being drawn. Silver blade. Perfect for putting down rabid wolves. Through their bond, Lyra felt Cale's determination. He would die protecting her. And she realized she couldn't let that happen. "Stop," she said, stepping around Cale's massive wolf form. "You want me? Fine, I'll come willingly. Just leave him alone." "Lyra, no," Sarah gasped, but Lyra was already moving forward, hands raised in surrender. Cale's anguished howl split the night. The council chamber stank of old wood and older prejudices. Lyra stood in the center of the circular room, her wrists bound with rope that chafed against the still tender bite mark. She could feel dozens of eyes on her, sense the weight of their judgment. But worse was the absence. The bond in her chest pulled painfully towards something that wasn't there. Cale was gone, dragged away by Talon's men. The separation felt like being slowly torn in half. "Lyra of Willowmere," Corvin's voice rang out, "you stand accused of 3 crimes. First, practicing forbidden magic. Second, harboring an enemy alpha. And third, consorting with the Shadowlands through dark means." Murmurs rippled through the assembled council members. "How do you answer these charges?" Magistrate Vex, a gray-haired woman, asked coldly. "I'm a healer," Lyra said steadily. "I used my gifts to save a dying man. That's not a crime." "Your gifts?" Corvin laughed. "Let's be clear about what you are. Your mother was executed for witchcraft 15 years ago. Now you've revealed yourself to carry the same taint?" Lyra's jaw clenched. "My mother was murdered because fearful men couldn't understand what they didn't control." "Mind your tongue," Vex snapped. "Multiple witnesses saw you use magic, golden light, unnatural healing, the same corruption your mother possessed." "It's not corruption," Lyra said fiercely. "It's a gift. One that saved your grandson when he fell from the mill, magistrate." Vex's face reddened. "Herbal remedies, nothing more." "You know that's not true." "What I know," Vex said coldly, "is that you've bonded yourself to a Shadowlands alpha. The mark on your wrist proves it." Lyra felt the bond pulse in response. Somewhere, Cale felt the same pull. "He wasn't my enemy," Lyra said quietly. "He was dying, and no one would help him." "The law is clear," Vex said. "Those who practice forbidden magic forfeit their right to pack protection. You are hereby banished from Silverpine territory. You have until sunset to leave. If you're found within our borders after nightfall, the sentence is death." "And what about Nova?" Lyra's voice cracked. "The foundling will be placed with a proper family," Corvin said smoothly. "No." Lyra lunged forward, stopped by guards who grabbed her arms. "You can't take her from me." "You have no legal claim to the child," Vex said. "This council's decision is final." The bond suddenly flared with rage that wasn't her own. Cale knew. Even separated, he knew what they were doing to her. "There's one alternative," Corvin said, stepping closer. "Renounce the bond. Use your magic to sever the tie. Do that, and perhaps the council would reconsider. You could keep the child. Stay in your home." For a moment, Lyra was tempted. Everything she'd known could be saved. But the bond thrummed in her chest. Severing it wouldn't just hurt Cale. It would destroy something fundamental in both of them. "I can't," she whispered. Can't or won't. Both. Lyra lifted her chin. The bond isn't something that can be cut like a rope. It's woven into our life forces. To sever it would kill us both. She felt the truth of it as she spoke. The bond might be incomplete, but it was also keeping them alive. Two flames burning brighter together. Then you've made your choice, Vex said coldly. Guards, escort her to her cottage. She has until sunset. As they dragged her toward the door, Lyra heard Corvin speak quietly to Talon. Make sure she actually leaves. And if the Shadowlands Alpha tries to follow her? I know what to do, Talon replied grimly. They were going to kill Kale the moment he tried to leave Silverpine Lands. Back at her cottage, under guard, Lyra's mind raced. The sun was already past its peak. 4 hours until sunset. Nova clung to her, sobbing. I don't want you to go. Please, Mama Lyra. Shh. Lyra smoothed Nova's hair, her own tears falling. You're strong and brave. No. Nova pulled back. I'm coming with you. They won't let you. Then we'll run. They'll hunt us down, Lyra said gently. At least this way, you're safe. I don't want safe, Nova said fiercely. I want you. A sound outside made them both freeze. Not the guards. This was coming from the back, from the forest. Lyra tilted her head. There. A presence she knew as well as her own heartbeat now. Kale, she breathed. She moved to the back window. What do you see? Lyra whispered. It's him, Nova said. He's at the tree line. And Lyra, there are wolves with him. Dozens. Lyra leaned out. You have to leave, she said urgently. They're going to kill you if you try to take me. It's a trap. For a long moment, silence. Then Kale's voice, rough and determined. I don't leave my mate. The word hit Lyra like a physical blow. Mate. I'm not your mate, Lyra protested weakly. This bond. It's an accident. No accident. His voice was closer now. Felt it. Moment you touched me. Life calling to life. You are mine. I am yours. Kale, please. Come with me, he said simply. Leave this place that would kill you for being what you are. My pack doesn't fear magic. They celebrate it. Lyra's hands gripped the windowsill. What about Nova? She comes too. Any who matter to you, matter to me. Run into the forest with a man she'd known for 2 days. Leave everything for a territory she'd been taught to fear? But staying meant losing Nova anyway, meant living without the other half of her soul. The guards will stop us. Let them try. A howl split the air, not Kale, but one of the wolves with him. It was answered by another, then another, until the forest sang with the sound of a pack claiming territory. Lyra! A guard shouted from the front. What's happening back there? Now. Kale's voice was urgent. Trust me. Lyra had 3 seconds to make a choice that would define the rest of her life. She chose. Nova, grab your bag. We're leaving. They ran. Nova's hand was tight in Lyra's as they crashed through underbrush, guided by Kale's presence through the bond. Behind them, shouts and the sounds of pursuit grew louder. There! Talon's voice rang out. The blind witch is fleeing! Arrows whistled past. One struck a tree inches from Lyra's head, and she felt Kale's rage explode through their bond. A massive silver-gray wolf suddenly appeared beside them, Kale in his other form. He positioned himself between them and their pursuers. Keep running, she gasped to Nova. But her own body was betraying her. Her foot caught on a root, and she went down hard. Lyra! Nova tried to pull her up. Kyle was there instantly, shifting back to human form. His arms came around her, lifting her as if she weighed nothing. Hold on. He shifted again. Not wolf, but something between. Larger than any natural wolf, with intelligence burning in golden eyes, an alpha in his true form. He ran with her on his back, Nova clinging to his fur beside her. But the sounds of pursuit didn't fade. They grew closer. They're hurting us, Lyra realized with horror. Talons driving us toward the Thornwood border. The Thornwood, the cursed forest where even wolves feared to tread. Kale, we have to turn back. But it was too late. She felt the shift in the air, the wrongness. They'd crossed from natural forest into something other. The Thornwood welcomed them with silence so complete it felt like entering a tomb. Kale slowed, his body tense. Even he feared this place. Behind them, the pursuit stopped at the border. Talon's voice called out, "You've sealed your own fate. The Thornwood takes everyone. You'll be dead by morning." Laughter from the Silver Pine guards, then retreating footsteps. Kale shifted back to human form, setting Lyra and Nova gently on the ground. "We need. Keep moving," he said quietly. "This place. It hungers." "For what?" Nova whispered. "Magic. It feeds on those with power." As if summoned by his words, the air around them began to shimmer. Shadows that weren't quite shadows detached from the trees, drifting toward them with curious hunger. Lyra felt them before she saw them. Voids in the world, empty spaces that wanted to be filled. "Don't let them touch you," Kale said urgently. He pulled both Lyra and Nova close, his body becoming their shield. But there were too many. They came from all directions, drawn by the beacon of power that Lyra and Kale together created. One brushed against Lyra's arm and agony lanced through her. It wasn't pain. It was absence, the feeling of something vital being drained away. She cried out, and Kyle roared his fury. Golden light exploded from him, alpha power in its purest form, driving the shadows back, but it only made them hungrier. "We're going to die here," Nova sobbed, "and it's because of me." "Never," Lyra said fiercely. She pulled Nova close, feeling Kale's arms around them both. But even as she thought it, something inside her stirred. The same power that had healed Kale, but deeper, older. The shadows pressed closer. Kale's power was fading. Lyra made a choice. She let go of her fear, her control, her careful hiding. She opened herself to the full force of what she was. Light poured from her. Not golden like Kale's alpha power, but silver-white like moonlight, the color of spirit healing, of mending breaks in the soul itself rather than the body. It didn't attack the shadows. Instead, it transformed them, filling their emptiness with peace. The shadows stopped their assault. One by one, they dissipated, not destroyed but completed, released. When the last shadow faded, Lyra collapsed in Kale's arms. "What did you do?" he breathed, awe in his voice. "I don't know," Lyra whispered. "I just felt what they needed." Through their bond, she felt his wonder, his recognition of what she truly was. Not a witch to be feared, but something far rarer. A healer of spirits. A mender of the broken places in the world. "My heart," Kale murmured, pressing his forehead to hers. "You are magnificent." But the display of power had cost her. Lyra felt consciousness slipping away. "Sleep." Kale's voice was gentle. "I have you. Safe now." As darkness took her, Lyra heard Nova's voice. "Where do we go now?" "Home," Kale replied. "We go to Shadowlands, where my pack will welcome her, as treasure she is." Lyra wanted to argue, but exhaustion claimed her. Her last conscious thought was of the bond between them, burning bright and steady, an anchor, a promise of belonging. Lyra woke to warmth and crackling fire. Her body ached with the deep exhaustion that spoke of days, not hours, having passed. Easy, a woman's voice said. You're safe. You're in Shadowlands territory, in the Alpha's personal lodge. You've been unconscious for nearly 2 days since the Thornwood. Your body needed time to recover from that much power expenditure. Lyra sat up slowly. Nova? The little one is fine. She's with the pack children, probably eating her weight in honey cakes. Relief flooded through Lyra. And Kale? The Alpha is in council. The woman, Rena, said with a smile in her voice. Though he's been checking on you every hour. Lyra's cheeks warmed. I need to see him. I'm sure he'll be... Now, Lyra said more firmly. Through the bond, she could feel him. Close by, but troubled. Rena helped Lyra through corridors that smelled of pine and stone. Unlike Silverpine's buildings, which always felt closed in, Shadowland's structures seemed to breathe with the forest. They emerged into what felt like a great hall. Lyra could sense many presences, dozens of wolves, all focused on one central point. Kale, she called out. The room fell silent. Then footsteps approached rapidly, and Kale's hands found her face, tilting it up. You're awake, he breathed. Thank spirits. You're awake. What's happening? Why does the bond feel fractured? Kale's hands dropped. Counsel questions. Wisdom of bringing you here. Not because of who you are, but what it means. Silverpine will see it as aggression. We're already on brink of war. And now you've given them an excuse, Lyra finished. I've made things worse. No, Kyle said fiercely. You've made things clear. An older male voice spoke. What's right and what's wise are not always the same, Alpha. Your father would have counseled caution. My father is dead, Kale said coldly, and his caution did nothing to stop Silverpine's encroachment. Nothing to prevent their hunters from poisoning our wolves. The Shadowbane, Lyra breathed. That's what it was. A weapon to kill your kind. Our kind, Kale corrected. You're one of us now. But the bond's not complete, another voice said. Female, sharp. An incomplete bond makes you vulnerable, Alpha. Makes us all vulnerable. They won't exploit it, Kyle said firmly. How can you be certain? The woman pressed. We don't even know what she is, what she did in the Thornwood. That was something none of us have seen. Lyra felt all eyes turn toward her. I'm a spirit healer, Lyra said quietly. My mother called it soul mending. I can sense wounds that go deeper than flesh. That's impossible, someone muttered. Spirit healers haven't existed in 4 centuries. Sarah's voice cut through. She'd entered without Lyra noticing. Not since the Great Fracturing. But the blood runs true sometimes. I suspected when I first examined her, but what she did in the Thornwood confirmed it. The hall erupted in whispers. If she truly is a spirit healer, the older male said slowly, then she's more valuable than any of us imagined, and more endangered. Corvin will stop at nothing to capture her. He already suspects, Lyra said. Even so, the sharp-voiced woman said, the Omega is a liability. You've bonded yourself without completing the claim, which leaves you compromised. Mara? Kale's voice was a warning growl. She's right. Lyra stepped forward. I am a liability, which is why I'm offering to leave. The bond flared with Kale's instant rejection. No. Listen to me. Lyra turned toward him. If I go, if I take Nova and disappear, Silverpine has no excuse for war. Your pack stays safe. And you? Kale demanded. Running blind through territories you don't know, with hunters tracking you. I'll manage. You'll die, Kyle said bluntly. Within a week. And I'll feel it through our bond. Every moment of your fear, your pain, your death. Is that what you want? Lyra's throat tightened. I want you to live. Then stay. Kale's hands found hers. Stay and let me protect you. You saved my life. Let me return the favor. The incomplete bond is a problem, Mara said, softer now. Every day it remains incomplete. It drains you both. We've all seen it. How you pace at night, how you can't focus. And she's not eating, barely sleeping. The bond is consuming you. Then we complete it, Lyra said quietly. Silence fell over the hall. You don't know what you're offering, Sarah said gently. Completing a bond isn't just physical. It's permanent, irreversible. Your souls literally merge. I know, Lyra said. Through the bond, she'd felt the truth of it. Completing the claim would mean giving up her independence in many ways, but she would also never be alone. Are you certain? Kyle's voice was rough with emotion. I won't force this. Lyra reached up, her fingers finding his face. She traced his features carefully, strong jaw, sharp cheekbones, lips that had once pressed against her wrist. I'm certain, she whispered. The bond thrummed between them. Then it settled, the older male voice said. The claiming will happen tonight, under the full moon. Assuming the Omega survives it. The completion ceremony has been known to kill even the strongest wolves. Lyra felt Kale's fear spike through their connection. How often do Omegas die? The silence that followed told her everything. The moon rose full and heavy over Shadowlands territory, painting the sacred clearing in silver light. Lyra stood at its center, dressed in ceremonial robes. Around her, the pack had gathered in a circle, dozens of wolves creating a wall of protective energy. But she'd never felt more alone. Second thoughts? Sarah asked quietly. Many, Lyra admitted. But I'm not backing down. Through the bond, she felt Kale approaching. The pack stirred as their alpha entered the circle. You don't have to do this, Kale said quietly. We can find another way. There is no other way, Lyra replied. The bond will kill us both eventually if we don't complete it. Better that than losing you now. Lyra reached out, her hand finding his chest. Beneath her palm, his heart raced. Do you know what I sensed the first moment I touched you? What? Your heartbeat felt like coming home, Lyra whispered. I didn't understand it then. But I understand now, Kyle. You're where I belong. Wherever you are, that's my place in this world. His hands cradled her face. And if the ceremony kills you, then at least I'll die knowing I found something worth dying for. Kale made a sound of pure anguish. Don't talk about dying. I'm not afraid, Lyra said. Fear had been her companion for so long, but standing here, on the edge of forever with Kale, she felt only certainty. Sarah began to chant in the old language. The pack joined in, their voices rising and the clearing filled with power. By the ancient laws, Sarah called out, 2 souls seek to become one. Will the pack witness this bond? We witness, the pack responded. Will the moon bless this union? Above them, clouds parted, bathing the clearing in brighter silver light. Then let the claiming begin. Kale's hands trailed down to her shoulders. She felt him shaking. Last chance. I don't run from destiny, Lyra replied. His lips found hers, gentle at first, almost questioning. Lyra answered by pressing closer. The kiss deepened, and she felt the bond flare between them. Kale's mouth left hers, trailing kisses along her jaw to her throat, to the sacred place where a true claiming mark belonged. His breath was hot against her skin, his intention clear. This was not the desperate fever bite of before, but the deliberate claiming that would bind them forever. I love you, he whispered against her pulse point. However long I have you, minutes or decades, know that I love you. I love you too, Lyra breathed. Now claim me properly. She felt him smile against her throat. Then his teeth sank deep into the soft flesh where her neck met her shoulder. Pain exploded through her, white hot and all-consuming. But unlike the first bite, this one continued, deepening as Kale's alpha essence poured into her. Lyra's scream caught in her throat as her body began to change, not shifting like a wolf, but something more fundamental. Her cells rewrote themselves, her DNA adapting to accommodate the bond. Human Omega giving way to something that could match an alpha's power. Through their connection, she felt Kale's fear. He wanted to stop. But Lyra's hands locked behind his head, holding him in place. "Don't stop," she gasped. "Don't you dare stop." The pack's chanting grew louder, feeding power into the ceremony. Lyra felt their support like hands lifting her up. And then, when the pain had reached a crescendo that threatened to tear her apart, it stopped. Not gradually, but all at once, like stepping from fire into cool water. Kale released her throat, his tongue moving gently over the wound to close it. Lyra sagged against him, gasping, shaking, alive. More than alive, reborn. "Look at me," Kyle whispered urgently. "Please, look at me." Lyra opened her eyes, and for the first time in her life, she could see. Not the darkness that had always been her world, but actual sight. Colors. So many colors she'd never imagined, sharper and more vibrant than any human could perceive. Shapes. Light and shadow dancing together in ways that spoke of wolf sight, powerful and perfect. And Kale's face, finally revealed. Strong and fierce and beautiful, with eyes that blazed with golden wolf light. "You're crying," she whispered in wonder, watching tears track down his cheeks. "So are you," he replied, his voice breaking. Your eyes?" "I can see," Lyra breathed. "Kale, I can see you." The pack erupted in howls of celebration. The impossible had happened, and Omega survived a full alpha claiming transformed. But Lyra barely heard them. She was too busy staring at the man who was now, irrevocably, her mate. "My turn," she said softly. Kale's eyes widened. "You don't have to." "I want to," Lyra interrupted. "A true bond goes both ways. You marked me. Now I mark you." She saw the moment he understood, saw his pupils dilate with desire and something deeper. Trust. He tilted his head, baring his throat to her. An alpha, submitting to his omega. Lyra's newly sharp teeth found the spot where his pulse beat strongest. She didn't hesitate. She bit down, claiming him as thoroughly as he'd claimed her. The bond exploded between them, no longer a connection but a fusion. Two souls crashed together and merged, becoming something greater than the sum of their parts. Through Kale's eyes, Lyra saw herself, fierce and luminous, marked and mated and magnificent. Through her eyes, Kyle saw himself. Not the war leader feared across territories, but simply a man who'd found his home. When Lyra finally released him, sealing the wound with her tongue, they stood together in the center of the clearing, bound so tightly that neither could tell where one ended and the other began. "Pack," Kale's voice rang out. "I present to you my mate, Lyra of Shadowlands, spirit healer and Omega. She is under my protection and the Pack's. Anyone who threatens her threatens us all." The pack howled their acceptance. Lyra felt their welcome wash over her, felt herself becoming part of something larger. "There's just one thing," she murmured to Kale. "What's that?" "Nova. She's part of this deal too." Kyle smiled, the expression transforming his fierce face. "Already arranged. I formally adopted her this afternoon. She's our daughter now. Our daughter. Our pack. Our home." Lyra pulled Kyle down for another kiss, this one joyful and free and perfect. Around them, the pack celebrated, and the moon shone down its blessing. And somewhere, miles away in Silver Pine territory, Corvin had stared at reports of what had happened that night, his face twisting with rage. But within a month, reformers within his own territory, horrified by his Shadowbane experiments, exposed his methods to the council. They stripped him of rank and imprisoned him. New leadership now spoke of peace, not war. But that was a story for another day. Tonight, Lyra and Kale stood together under the full moon, complete at last. Two halves made whole, and whatever challenges came, they would face them together. As they always would. Forever. 6 months later, in the cottage Kale built at the heart of Shadowlands, Nova's laughter rang out as she chased pack children through the clearing. "She's happy," Kyle murmured, wrapping his arms around Lyra from behind. "We all are," Lyra replied, leaning back against his chest. "Sarah says I'm pregnant," Lyra said quietly. Kale went completely still. Then his arms tightened and a sound of pure joy escaped him. "Truly? Truly." "A child," Kale breathed. "Our child." "Are you ready for that?" He silenced her with a kiss. "I'm ready for everything, as long as it's with you." And as Lyra kissed her mate, listening to Nova's laughter and feeling new life growing inside her, she knew that every terrifying choice had been worth it. She'd found her pack, her home, her destiny, and it was more beautiful than anything she'd ever imagined.